Oh, I have this Freezie on such a nice summer day, but I can't hold it for long enough to enjoy it. Logan, help!
Hello guys, since our friend has found himself in a little predicament, we're going to be making him a Freezie Wrap. Basically just something to hold that keeps your hands safe from your cold Freezie while you're enjoying it on a nice hot day. So let's see what we need for this craft. Oh, and of course, before we go any further, I have to give a quick shout out to ExploreNet for sponsoring this video. Without ExploreNet, we wouldn't be able to get 100 boxes out to kids, and I wouldn't be able to make these videos, so thank you so much, ExploreNet. Alright, for this craft, the most important thing is going to be our sewing needle, our felt sheets, and our string. Though, of course, you will need some scissors to cut the string and some other elements. Also recommend a marker and a Sharpie to help measure, some tape to hold our felt together, a ruler for measuring, as well as a glue gun and a stapler for adding extra elements that might be fun. We've got some googly eyes and some buttons here. And of course, you're gonna need your Freezie. So the first thing we wanna do is set our felt down and then put our Freezie into it to see how big it needs to be. Once you've folded it like this and made sure both sides are even, I recommend taking some tape and just taping this shut to make sewing a whole lot easier. Now we've got that taped, we know exactly how big our Freezie is going to be. You're gonna want to take out a marker as well as a ruler and then just sort of hold this down, see where your Freezie fits, and then take a ruler just so we know it's straight and draw a line down. You can do the same thing for the other side. You can do the same thing for the other side. I've just sort of folded it over and then marked where the line starts. And then just doing the same thing over here, making sure all our lines are straight. Now you're gonna wanna take your Freezie and put it back in the freezer so that it's ready for us to eat when we're done. Our next step is the sewing proper. So I've got my needle here, my sewing needle and my string. And what you're gonna wanna do first is take a long piece of string. Just take more than you think you're gonna need for this one. Once you have your string, I've got mine cut off all the way. It's got two ends. You're gonna wanna take one end and thread the needle. You've probably heard this expression before, but threading the needle is just the very difficult task of getting your string to go in to your needle. Now it can be really tough to do just right away, so you can actually quickly sort of put the string in your mouth and get it a little wet, and then it'll be stuck together so that you can thread it. And after only 15 minutes of grueling putting this string through this needle, you're gonna wanna make sure you've got an equal amount of string on both sides here. As you can see, they end at the same point. Now you're gonna wanna take those two ends and you're gonna wanna tie some simple knots, and this is gonna make sure that your stitching doesn't come undone while you're sewing. So tie a simple knot, merely just sort of intersect the strings, and then make a little loop at the top. Make a loop and pull one side through the loop. See that? So before you tie it should look something like that. And as you tie it, you want to make sure it's at the end of your string as much as you can. That way we have a nice long length of string left to use. And if it's just a small knot that you've managed to do, you're going to want to make a couple of those just by making some more circles like that, and just sort of keep building onto that knot so that it's big enough not to fall through the holes you make. That's looking pretty good. Now we've got one end that's knotted and one end on the needle. Now we come to a crossroads. So depending on how you want to decorate your Freezie Wrap, you might want to do some decorating now or after we sew. If you want to sew on some decorations, then you're going to want to sew them on right now because we're going to turn this thing inside out. But if you just want to hot glue or staple some things on, maybe some buttons or just staple on a little patch, then we can just do that at the end. Up to you. For me, I'm going to get sewing. All right, now to begin sewing, it's actually a lot easier than it looks. I know you guys have safety needles, but if you're choosing to use a regular needle, always make sure to be safe. We're gonna start just with our lines here. And basically our motion is going to be pushing our needle through the bottom into the top of our Freezie Wrap. And if your string is pretty big, then you're gonna need to wiggle it through a little bit. See how that took some work. And now we've got our knot at the bottom. That's going to keep our string in place. And now as we continue to sort of go in and out, our string will stay there and slowly we'll form some stitches up this way. So now that we've gone from the bottom into the top, we're going to go from the top into the bottom, and make sure you're trying to stick to your lines on the front and back. So I'm going to go from top into the bottom now. See how my needle is sticking through both lines. We want to make sure our stitching is straight. Then I'm just sort of wiggling it to get that string through, and then pulling it. And look at that. We've made our first little stitch. Now we're just going to work our way all the way up, and we're going to have a Freezie Wrap. Look at that, we've made it halfway up. As you can see now, we've just got a little slot for our Freezie to go, and soon enough the whole thing will be ready. All right, looks like we've stitched our last stitch. I've got them going all the way through here. Check out this, ripping off the tape. And now we just gotta cut and tie a knot. So go ahead and grab your scissors, and where your string's coming from on your last stitch, obviously you see our first stitch there, we've got our knot. On your last stitch, you're gonna wanna give yourself the same sort of room to tie a knot. So we've got this much string, and of course, just to hold it like our first stitch, you're gonna want to tie some nice, strong, thick knots. That way your Freezie Wrap doesn't come undone. Once you got a good thick knot bigger than your hole, you just give it a cut, and just like your first stitch, give that a cut too. Okay, and yeah, we got all this room for our Freezie, but what's all this extra stuff? Well, you can just go ahead and cut this off. Just make sure you're not cutting off any of your stitches, and you're kind of doing it straight. Now, if you were here for our sock gnome video, you kind of know what this is like, but essentially we're gonna have to turn this inside out, just so we don't see any of this messy work. A nice clean Freezie Wrap to hold our Freezie. Ah, and look at that. Isn't that cute? Now, let's decorate it. It works. It works. I'm going to show you a couple of decorations involving both the classic glue gun and the simple stapler. The first thing I want to try out on my Freezie holder is I've cut a little circle of yellow felt here, and I'm going to use it as a smiley face at the top of my Freezie Wrap. So I'm actually going to very carefully insert my stapler, and I'm actually going to use the staple that holds the smiley face guy down as his little mouth. And I'm just going to give it my best, making sure my hand is clear and pushing down really hard. And look at that, we've got the beginnings of a smiley face. Now you can either take a hot glue gun, or you can actually take a glue stick. Just no guarantees that it'll stick as long. And of course, if you're using a hot glue gun, don't touch the hot glue. And we're just gonna hold back our buddy's head here and just put one little dab of hot glue, just hoping that it'll help him stay a little bit more. Next, I'm going to take cute little googly eyes here, and I'm going to just set a little hot glue onto my smiley face where I want those eyes to go. Now you might get some glue strings, that's okay. They'll go away in time and they don't show up that well. So 2 little dots where you want to put the eyes. Got rid of the glue strings, and then very carefully just set them on there before that glue cools. Look at the cute little guy to enjoy our Freezie with us. Whoa! So there you go. Next, we're going to actually take some pipe cleaner, well, I'm going to anyway, and I'm actually gonna see how much it takes to sort of go around my felt. I'm gonna shape a little Freezie-sized hole here, and we're gonna test. And then I was thinking it would be cute to have a little rim on our Freezie Wrap, I don't know, just to add some flair. Again, very careful with your glue stick if you want to make a rim. Just very steadily, safely make a hot glue rim around here. And then before the glue dries, you're just gonna want to stick your pipe cleaner on here and pull your Freezie Wrap out so that it sticks to it. Once you clear some of the glued bits from it, well, I think it looks pretty cute. And now, if you want, we can just sort of add some little cute gems with some more hot glue. Check this out. We're all decked out. Now, time to go save our buddy's hands with style.
Your tasty treat is on its way, my friend. Here you go. Oh, I'm so parched. Oh, I could really use a... Oh! Thanks, Logan. You really hooked me up this time. And there's no jokes or nothing. Thanks.
Well guys, hope you enjoyed our video making these cute little Freezie Wraps. I command you to send us pictures of your own Freezie Wraps. I would love to see them. I need to see them. Thank you very much. Otherwise, this month we've got a photography contest going on. We want you to capture light through a camera, make a picture of it, and send it to us. Otherwise called a photograph. Send them. Otherwise, Wednesday, May 26th, Murder Mystery Night. We want you to be there and solve this horrific crime with your wits and your cunning. So to sign up or submit for either of those, please email us, text us, or message us on Facebook, and we'll see you there. Guys, enjoy the rest of this weekend's videos. I appreciate you waiting, and enjoy the Freezies. Take care. Bye-bye.